Here's something nobody in Washington is putting on a press release. The number everyone's been quoting, 2033, just got worse. The most recent analysis puts the Social Security Trust Fund's exhaustion date as early as 2032, a full year sooner than last year's estimate. And when that fund runs dry, the cut isn't a maybe, it's automatic, written into law. No vote required. Depending on which report you read, somewhere between 17% and 24% of every Social Security check disappears overnight. Split the difference, call it 20%, and a $1,900 check loses roughly $380 every month for the rest of your life. Now here's the part nobody's saying out loud. There's a way to make that cut completely irrelevant. Not by earning more, not by working until you're 75. By moving somewhere your dollar is worth 2, 3, sometimes 4 times what it's worth here. We found 7 countries, real countries with real visa programs, real healthcare systems, and real English-speaking communities where even a Social Security check that's already been cut by 20% still buys a better life than a full check buys you in the United States right now. Counting down from 7 to 1. And number 1 isn't where you think. It's the country almost nobody on YouTube is talking about. And once you hear the numbers, you'll understand why that's about to change. Before we get into it, here's how this list got built. We pulled the actual 2026 Social Security Trustees Report. We went country by country through official immigration ministry pages, not blogs guessing at numbers, the actual government sources. Visa income thresholds current to 2026. Cost of living cross-referenced against on-the-ground reports from Americans living there right now. Healthcare rankings from the World Health Organization and the Global Retirement Index. And for every single country, you're getting both sides. What makes it incredible, and what could genuinely go wrong. A retirement video that only shows you palm trees isn't research, it's a sales pitch. This isn't that. Number 7, Mexico. And before you roll your eyes, Mexico, obviously, stay with me, because this is the entry where the rules just changed under everyone's feet, and almost no retirement channel has caught up yet. For decades, Mexico has been the default answer. Lake Chapala, just outside Guadalajara, specifically the village of Ajijic, has one of the largest English-speaking retiree communities on the planet. Cobblestone streets, jacaranda trees, a lake the size of a small sea, and a climate locals call eternal spring, rarely dropping below 60 or climbing past 80. You'll hear more English in the cafes of Ajijic than Spanish. The day-to-day cost of living is still genuinely shocking. A furnished one-bedroom runs $400 to $700 a month. A week of groceries at the local mercado, $40 to $60. A sit-down meal with a drink, $6 to $10. A single retiree can live well, not scrape by, live well, on $1,300 to $1,800 a month. Compare that to the US average of $4,800, and you're looking at a 60 to 70% reduction in your cost of living without changing your lifestyle at all. Here's the catch, and it's a big one. In mid-2025, Mexico quietly rewrote how consulates calculate visa income requirements, switching the formula from minimum wage to something called the UMA. The old temporary resident visa used to need somewhere around $2,000 to $2,700 a month in proven income. As of 2026, several consulates are now requiring closer to $4,400 a month, nearly 3 times the average Social Security check. There's a workaround. Roughly $74,000 in savings can qualify you instead of income. But if Social Security is genuinely your only income, that income route may no longer be open, and almost nobody is telling people that. Add visa fees that doubled in late 2025, plus the reality that certain Mexican states still carry real State Department advisories that need checking before you pick a town. The verdict: Mexico's daily cost of living still crushes almost everything on this list. But the legal door just got narrower. If you've got savings beyond Social Security, this remains one of the best values on earth. If Social Security is genuinely all you have, you may need to look further down this list. And yet, number 6 takes the opposite problem. The visa here is almost embarrassingly easy. The challenge is everything that happens after you land. Number 6, Costa Rica. Ask anyone what Pura Vida means, and they'll talk about the beaches, the coffee, the sloths. What they won't tell you is that Costa Rica has, on paper, the single easiest retirement visa requirement of any country on this list. The Pensionado visa requires proof of just $1,000 a month in lifetime pension income. That's it, no minimum age. The average Social Security check clears that with room to spare. You get temporary residency for 2 years, renewable indefinitely, with a path to permanent residency after 3 years, and citizenship after 7. Geographically, most retirees land in one of 2 places: the cooler Central Valley towns like Atenas, Grecia, and San Ramon, an hour from San Jose, or the Pacific coast around Guanacaste and Nosara, where the surf culture meets an enormous English-fluent expat population. Spanish is the official language, but inside these expat corridors, you can genuinely operate in English for years. Here's the catch, and it's the reason Costa Rica sits at number 6 instead of higher. Consumer prices in San Jose run about 45% below New York. Sounds great until you realize a single retiree living comfortably in the popular expat zones typically spends $1,600 to $2,500 a month, not $1,500. To actually land under $1,500, you need to be in the smaller, less Instagrammed inland towns. And even then, you're enrolling in CAJA, the public healthcare system, which adds 7 to 11% of your declared income every single month. And there's active discussion in the Costa Rican government about raising that $1,000 threshold substantially, with no grandfathering promised for people already in the program. The verdict: Costa Rica has the lowest entry bar of anywhere on this list, and CAJA is ranked among the best public healthcare systems in Latin America once you're in. Just don't picture the postcard towns when you're doing your budget. Number 5 takes us to a country most Americans still picture through a decades-old news headline. That headline is wrong, and the healthcare system alone should change your mind. Number 5, Colombia. Say it out loud and watch people's faces change. Cartels, danger, a country frozen in 1990s television. That perception is decades out of date, and it's quietly costing people access to one of the best healthcare systems in the Western Hemisphere. Medellin earned the nickname the City of Eternal Spring for a reason. It sits in a mountain valley where the temperature holds steady in the low 70s year-round. No air conditioning, no heating, ever. The trendy Poblado and Laurels neighborhoods have become genuinely international, full of coffee shops, co-working spaces, and a fast-growing English-speaking expat scene. Here's the honest cost breakdown. In Poblado, a furnished one-bedroom now runs $1,800 to $2,500. Too high for our budget. But shift just an hour or two away to the coffee triangle towns of Pereira, Manizales, or Armenia, and that same apartment drops to $700 to $1,000. A meal out costs $4 to $8. A single retiree in these smaller cities lives comfortably on $1,000 to $1,500 a month. Genuinely one of the lowest numbers on this entire list. The visa, called the M11 Pensionado, requires pension income at roughly 3 times Colombia's minimum wage, which works out to about $1,400 a month for 2026. Social Security qualifies directly, no extra paperwork gymnastics. And healthcare? Colombia ranks 22nd in the world, according to the World Health Organization, ahead of the United States. The catch: that safety perception isn't entirely fiction everywhere. Poblado and Laurels are genuinely safe, well-patrolled, expat-saturated neighborhoods, but Colombia is a big, varied country, and not every neighborhood in every city deserves the same trust. Location research isn't optional here, it's essential. And under the 2022 immigration overhaul, instant residency through investment is gone. Permanent residency now requires 5 consecutive years on the M11 before you can even apply. The verdict? Skip the trendy Medellin postcard neighborhoods, look at the coffee triangle instead, and you get world-class healthcare, spring weather forever, and one of the lowest costs of living anywhere in the Americas. Number 4 takes us across an ocean, into the European Union itself, on a visa threshold so low it almost sounds like a typo. Number 4, Portugal. Most people assume European retirement means 6 figures, a golden visa, and a real estate agent on speed dial. That's not this visa. The D7, Portugal's passive income visa, requires proof of just €920 a month, which as of 2026 is roughly $1,000. The average Social Security check doesn't just clear that, it clears it with hundreds of dollars to spare. And what you get for it is enormous. Full EU residency, visa-free travel across 172 countries through the Schengen zone, access to Portugal's public healthcare system, and, after 10 years, a path to citizenship and a Portuguese passport. Where you live changes everything. The Algarve coast, towns like Lagos and Tavira, whitewashed buildings, cliffside beaches, is what shows up on Pinterest, and it's getting expensive fast. $1,800 to $2,800 a month for a couple. But central Portugal, Coimbra, Viseu, the Silver Coast, runs closer to $1,500 to $2,200 for a couple, which means a single retiree can comfortably land under $1,500. Public healthcare through the SNS is free once you're registered, and private supplemental insurance runs $100 to $200 a month. The language situation is mixed, and we're not going to pretend otherwise. In Lisbon, Porto, and the Algarve's expat towns, English is everywhere. Younger Portuguese grew up on English language television, and most tourism-facing businesses operate bilingually. Step into a small inland town, talk to your landlord's elderly neighbor, or sit through a government appointment, and Portuguese becomes necessary fast. And that government appointment is the catch. Portugal's immigration agency, IMA, has a backlog that's become a running joke among expats. Appointments booked a year out, renewals dragging months longer than they should. Budget patience as seriously as you budget money. Add in rising costs in the popular coastal towns, plus a 2026 nationality law that extended the citizenship timeline for most applicants to 10 years, and Portugal rewards people who plan early and choose unglamorous towns over Instagram towns. The verdict, for roughly what your Social Security check already covers, Portugal hands you an EU residency pathway, free public healthcare, and Schengen-wide mobility. It might be the best value in legal residency on this entire list, if you're willing to wait. Number 3 doesn't just have a low cost of living, it has the US dollar already in your wallet, because it's already their currency. Number 3. Ecuador. Here's a fact that surprises almost everyone. Ecuador doesn't have its own currency. It uses the US dollar. Every price tag, every rent payment, every grocery receipt, dollars. No exchange rate to track, no currency risk, ever. The retirement hub is Cuenca, a UNESCO World Heritage colonial city sitting at 8,000 feet in the Andes, where the climate is described as eternal spring, 48 to 70 degrees Fahrenheit, year-round, no air conditioning, no heating bills. Cuenca also has one of the largest English-speaking expat communities anywhere in Latin America, which means English-speaking doctors, real estate agents, and entire social clubs built around American and Canadian retirees. The numbers here are almost absurd. A furnished one-bedroom runs $400 to $1,000. Groceries, $200 to $400 a month. A full meal out, $3 to $6. Most American retirees in Cuenca report living comfortably on $1,200 to $1,800 a month, some on as little as $750. The visa, Ecuador's Jubilado, or pensioner visa, requires $1,446 a month in 2026, exactly 3 times Ecuador's minimum wage. The average Social Security check, around $1,900, clears that comfortably, and a couple can combine 2 smaller pensions to qualify together. Healthcare runs through IESS, Ecuador's public insurance, at around $85 a month. Comprehensive, with no pre-existing condition exclusions, which is a genuine relief for anyone who's been priced out of US coverage. The catch, that 8,000-foot elevation, is not a footnote. If you have heart, lung, or blood pressure conditions, altitude adjustment is a real medical conversation to have with your doctor before you book a flight. Medicare doesn't follow you here. IESS or private insurance becomes mandatory. And while Cuenca itself remains relatively calm, some Ecuadorian coastal cities have seen rising crime in recent years, so this is a country where the choice of city matters enormously. The verdict: dollar simplicity, an Andean climate that never asks you to turn on a heater or an AC, and a visa threshold your Social Security check already clears. Just get the altitude cleared with your doctor first. Number 2 has the lowest visa requirement of anything we've covered, and pairs it with something even better: a currency that can never be devalued against the dollar because it IS the dollar. Number 2, Panama. If Ecuador impressed you with the dollar, Panama takes it one step further. The US dollar isn't just accepted here, it's legally the currency, circulating alongside Panama's own Balboa coins at a fixed 1-to-1 rate that has never moved. Your Social Security deposit and your grocery bills speak the exact same language. The Pensionado visa is, by a wide margin, the most generous program in this entire video. Proof of just $1,000 a month in lifetime pension. Social Security qualifies on day one, and you receive permanent residency immediately. Not temporary, not renewable, permanent, from approval. On top of that, Panama's law 6 hands retirees legally mandated discounts on medicine, restaurants, utility bills, airfare, hotels, and entertainment, discounts the government requires businesses to honor. For location, most retirees choose between Boquete, a cool mountain town in the highlands with its own eternal spring climate, or beach communities like Coronado and Pedasi. A furnished place near the beach runs $300 to $500 a month. Dinner out costs $8 to $12, and a single retiree living well, not barely, fits comfortably into $1,000 to $1,400 a month. The catch: Panama City itself is a different financial universe. Modern, cosmopolitan, and priced more like Miami than Central America. So don't budget Panama City prices and expect a beach town life. The rainy season, roughly May through December, brings serious downpours and occasional flooding in low-lying areas. Outside the main hubs, road quality and power reliability can be inconsistent. And Boquete and Coronado are getting discovered fast, with prices climbing year over year. The verdict: the lowest financial bar, the fastest path to permanent legal status, a currency you already understand, and government-mandated discounts that stretch every Social Security dollar even further. Panama is about as close to plug-and-play retirement as exists anywhere in the Americas. And now, number 1, the country that, when we say its name, half of you are going to ask, wait, that's a real option? Yes. And once you hear why, you'll understand why this is the one nobody's talking about yet. Number 1. Penang, Malaysia. While every retirement channel on YouTube is fighting over Portugal, Mexico, and Thailand, almost nobody is talking about this island off Malaysia's northwest coast. That gap between reputation and reality is exactly why it's number 1. Malaysia was a British colony until 1957, and English remains the country's second official language. In Penang specifically, it's everywhere. Menus, street signs, conversations between strangers of different ethnic backgrounds who default to English as their common language. You won't just get by here. You'll feel at home from day one. The cost of living is, frankly, the best on this entire list. A furnished one-bedroom runs $400 to $650 a month. A 2-bedroom with a view, $800 to $1,000. Groceries run $100 to $150 a month, and then there's the hawker food, some of the best-ranked street food on the planet. Full meals for $1 to $3. A single retiree doesn't just get by on $1,500 here. By every account, they live extraordinarily. Healthcare is where Penang separates itself completely. JCI-accredited private hospitals, Gleneagles Penang Adventist Island Hospital, staffed by doctors trained in the UK, Australia, and the US. A specialist consultation costs $25 to $40. An MRI, $150 to $250. That's 70 to 80% less than the same procedure in the United States, with wait times measured in hours, not weeks. Now, the catch, and it's significant. Malaysia's long stay program, MM2H, was restructured in 2024 into tiers. The entry-level silver tier requires about $1,060 a month in income. Your Social Security check clears that easily, plus a roughly $32,000 fixed deposit. But here's what almost nobody mentions. Under the 2024 rules, MM2H now requires a mandatory property purchase, and in Penang specifically, that minimum runs around $213,000 for foreign buyers. The day-to-day cost of living here is the cheapest on this entire list. The legal pathway in is, for many retirees, the hardest. The verdict: if you can clear the property requirement through savings, downsizing a U.S. home, or financing, Penang delivers more lifestyle per dollar than anywhere else on this list, by a wide margin. The heat, 85 to 92 degrees Fahrenheit daily, is the only other real adjustment most people will need to make. Seven countries, 7 completely different paths to the same outcome. A life that doesn't bend to whatever happens with that trust fund date. Mexico, still the cheapest day-to-day living on the list if you can clear the new, much higher visa income bar. Costa Rica, the lowest visa requirement of all, paired with healthcare ranked among Latin America's best, as long as you stay out of the postcard towns. Colombia, from world-class, WHO-ranked healthcare and eternal spring weather, once you look past Medellin's trendiest and pricier neighborhoods. Portugal, an EU residency pathway and Schengen-wide mobility for roughly what your Social Security check already covers, if you're willing to wait out the bureaucracy. Ecuador, the US dollar already in your pocket, an Andean climate that needs no heating or cooling, and a visa threshold your Social Security clears with room to spare. Panama, the fastest, lowest barrier path to permanent legal residency anywhere in this hemisphere, plus government-mandated discounts for life. And Penang, the cheapest, richest day-to-day life on this entire list, if you can clear the property requirement standing between you and the visa. Here's the thing nobody in the retirement industry wants you to sit with. That cut, 17%, 20%, 24%, pick whichever report you trust most, isn't a worst-case scenario anymore. It's the legally required outcome if Congress simply does nothing, and Congress does nothing has been the safe bet for 40 years. The question isn't whether your check might shrink. It's whether the place you're living can absorb that shrink without you ever noticing. The world is wider than the 5 or 6 countries every retirement channel recycles. But, and this matters just as much, not every country on that wider map is a safe landing. Some places that looked perfect 2 years ago have quietly become genuinely risky for retirees. Some countries that used to welcome Americans with open arms are, for political and economic reasons, starting to push back hard. We've done that research too. The countries where your safety is actually at risk in 2026, and the countries where the welcome mat is being pulled out from under people who already moved. That video is right there on your screen, because finding the right place to land only matters if you also know which places to avoid.